Last time, we saw how the United Nations voted to divide Palestine into two states. The Jewish leadership accepted, the Arab world rejected it, and war broke out immediately after. But what happened to the Palestinian people during that war?
In 1948, Zionist militias launched a campaign to take over as much of Palestine as possible. As a result, more than 700,000 Palestinians, the majority of the population, were forced to flee or were expelled from their homes. This mass displacement is known as Al-Nakba, which means the catastrophe in Arabic. Entire towns and villages were attacked, emptied, and then destroyed. Over 400 Palestinian villages were completely wiped off the map. Homes were looted, civilians were massacred, and families were driven into exile. One of the most well-known massacres happened in Deir Yassin, where over 100 Palestinian civilians were killed by Zionist forces. Most Palestinians believed they would return after the fighting stopped. But they were never allowed to return. Instead, the new Israeli state declared their land as abandoned and gave it to Jewish settlers, many of whom had arrived just months earlier. Meanwhile, the land that wasn't captured by Israel was taken by other countries. Jordan occupied the West Bank, and Egypt controlled the Gaza Strip. But no Palestinian state was created. The dream of independence vanished. Palestinian refugees were forced into overcrowded camps in Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Gaza, and the West Bank. These camps were meant to be temporary, but many still exist today, more than 75 years later. From an Islamic perspective, this wasn't just the loss of homes. It was the occupation of a sacred land, including parts of Al-Quds, or Jerusalem, home to Masjid Al-Aqsa, the third holiest site in Islam. The Qur'an speaks about those who drive others unjustly from their homes, and what happened in 1948 is a clear example of that injustice.
The Nakba is not just history. It was the beginning of a crisis that continues to this day. It explains why millions of Palestinians still live without a country, without basic rights, and without the ability to return to their homes. In the next and final episode, we'll cover what happened after 1948, how Israel took the rest of Palestine in 1967, how the occupation deepened, and why the conflict still hasn't ended today. Subscribe to follow the series and understand the full story and support this project.